the settings. Let me show you. Settings. Okay, so I just do the short length at 50 and I do the long at 200, and then I just change my colors, but I keep the cross blue. But it's very simple, and you could you could have more than one if you wanted to do two other numbers, whatever you want to do. But I use that in conjunction with the TR main, because TR main gives you all those other moving averages, and the market cipher. I don't think it's turned on right now, but um, all right, so there was my price target 107,176. Looks like we're going to do that. And then remember, we got this right here. So we want to top, I'm going to get up here. Looks like we're ready to do it. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, now here's the fib ring that we want to enter. And that is right there. You see that curve right there between the blue and the red? It's over the orange. And my must cross number that I've had on every chart that you've seen me post is 109,545.6 right there. Bada bing, bada boom. There it is. Got to have it. Okay? So, BTC, you listen now and you get over that. There it is. But after we do that, then, we obviously have more to do, more work to do, but that's the main thing right there. So look for a little bit of trouble, right, like right here. And that again was the 1 hour, right? The 1 hour right here. So there it is. So looking this way, okay, that we're trying to go up along this chute, and that is the fib circle this way, and we're trying to get up to that pivot point right up here. So that's above 109,096, like that, and you can see, and this makes an S, basically, right, like this, see, like that, and there, yeah. All right, now let's look at what we got in store for us if we do that. If we do that, it's possible, not promising anything, but it's possible to break over 112,885 right here if we continue on this path, and then you have 116 waiting, we have 118.9, and then up here. Now, again, this does not mean today, tomorrow. It doesn't mean any of that. What it means is that those are potential targets. If we can come over the top of this circle, right? And this is the curves that I'm talking about. We have to hit those curves. And there's the snowflake, and here's my arrow coming across from the back here. Now, this is moved from way back. It's been in the works. And you have potential of like 131 up on this. So if you go like this, here is a 128. Now, this is your angular resistance line, this one, and then here is the one. Now, I started out talking about this triangle when I first came on, and I said about how this was going back up around here. Okay, well, that's right there is the, you see that? So here's the descending, and here is the angle right there. So this is resistance up here. It's overhead, and it starts from that point and this point. And if you go straight across, you see, that is 90, like 93, 94, okay? And bring that over here. You see how that, right there. Now, What number is that? That's 124,
Good, it's a question.
103. Okay, so that hits there. And my VIP number is your 124, 125, 469. So to get over that triangle, okay, so you follow this like this. Now we have to have this number. That is 116, 414. Then you go this. So breaking the resistance, you would have to break it at 124, 227 in order to come up here to 129, and then to 133, and then up here you have your 146, and then and so on. So this I said a long time ago, you know, we have got like 180 is in the cards. Here's 169 here, and here is 187. But again, you have to remember, we have to meet, you know, this is all resistance, angular. So it depends on the speed at which we come through the top here. If we can come through the top and get over this angle, um, if we can get to the 113 to 115, like this bottom edge, then we're at a higher speed rate to where we can make those numbers much easier because we're in that we've beat that resistance right on the ascending angle. But and this dashed line, okay, represents the 1 hour 50 EMA. This line is created because it's when the 1 hour time frame got over this line, and the 50 EMA was moved up here past this point, and so this is the angle at which we want the 1 hour 50 EMA to cross, or the earlier time frames. And then the black one, there's a black dashed line here, that would be the 4 hours. So that's why this particular line is really important here. Um, I'll explain that more in another time, but right now we really do need to, uh, we're at 106, 340. Let's see. I think we dropped back just a little bit, didn't we? Let's go down 15. Okay, so you see right here is previous price action that we have to cross that. With that 106, 451, and then this distance line here is 106, 513. And then this is our ascending curve. So we need this right there. We don't want to drop back, you know, underneath this fib circle. That's, you know, more bearish. We want to stay uh, in this circle on this edge. So this white line is real important to stay. We have our angles meet. If I spread this out, you can see that it's like this cone, or this triangle. It's almost like a leftward facing. So that's why you see me, like when I post the jar, turning the jar, okay, you put your thumb here, put your fingers here, and you twist your jar open. What way does it go? Counterclockwise. We want, you know, we want to flow this way, um, because we need to achieve like this corner, and that is accomplished by going upwards, and then you get that spiral motion this way, because you can see here, see how this angle will actually be different when you get here. Then you have more like a ladder versus a shoot down. See how that changes once you cross here? Because you have this ascending from over this side. Um, you're part of this over here, rather than this descending down here. So you have to stay above 105.2. Otherwise you could, you know, caught down like between here and here. So beating this angle was really important right there.
Pause move Monday, Dbloc.
I don't think Dbloc's here right now.
It's nice to see you back, BJ. We missed you.
Oh, thank you.
Hi,
How have you
BJ.
been?
Good, good. I was always
I'm glad.
waiting for you to come in, get some TA. We missed you for a little bit.
Well, I was in Florida for a while, and so I had a nice visit, and we've just had some things to do, and so I've just been a little bit quiet, trying to do some trading, and not getting. I've had some new things that I'm looking at, so I've just been trying to take some time to keep my mind from being too distracted. But thank you. I appreciate it.
No, that's good. That's good that you've been doing new things, and good to see you back.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it so much. Yeah, so I did start charting that ZBEC network coin. And so I'll post a little bit of that. Of course, that's a new thing, and it's speculative and all that, but most of you are capable enough to do your own research and everything. And then do we want to look at XRP real quick?
Quick question right here. Sorry, BJ.
No
Why do
problem.
the spirals go counterclockwise and not clockwise?
Okay, well, it depends on where you are. Okay, so I could, for instance, I can draw a spiral or a projection in a downward fashion if you have a downward trend, like from here. Let's just take this, for example. You see, you can, and that's really what this one here is. You see this one? This is a descending, and it is going clockwise when you see here. This is going this way. You see? It's when you get
Yeah.
up here, because price moves or because time moves upward or forward, right? We go this way to the right. Time doesn't go backwards. Time goes forward. So in math, when you use your calculus formula, time is part of the formula for a chart. So there's a point here where these I'm trying to explain this right, where the time frame takes precedence. Okay, like the upper time frame, the let me try to say this correctly. A 200 EMA from a 1 minute chart is not is a whole lot of a different thing than a 200 EMA from a weekly. So you have to understand the macro versus a small micro movement, and that's where there's times when I say, okay, we're in a spot. Well, that's what makes it hard for traders, because sometimes that spot, just a few, just a little tiny bit of movement too far to the right can lead you to a a drop, a gap. All right. But there are spots in the chart where you have support coming from underneath, like this. See how this right here is ascending. This one, this in white. See how that movement is ascending, and then there's sometimes when you have a a bubble this way, or an arc this way. See, this would be supportive underneath. Once price got up here, if you're on the chart right here, price is here, the arc is supportive at this point. But if you're here, you can follow through. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Let me see if I can do that again. This is a hill versus a valley, because there's nothing underneath. If I take this, let's see. You have a good question, and I'm just not saying this the way I'm on my mind to say it. All right, so I'm gonna take a fib thing. There's a point at which it switches, is what I'm trying to get at. All right, so arc. Okay, let's just draw this like this. Okay, now look at that. There, see how there's when I'm see how I'm manipulating it with, you see that black line, how it's moving around in a circle. Do you see that down there?
Yeah.
Okay, like a thermometer, like a meter. Okay, like a windshield wiper. Okay, you see that. Now look at, there's a point when I get to right here that it'll flip. Look, see how it went up?
Right.
Now you see how it goes down. Here it goes up. Here it goes down. So when and look, when it connects one side to another at various points in the chart, and it makes these spaces. So let's say I'm just using this. This is not real numbers. Is not on the chart. Okay, I'm just using this for to show you what I'm talking about. So look here now. There's a line right here that if price was here and we needed it to go up like that, you see there, we have these as a ladder, right? And then we can get up here. See, this is a support until you, if you fall down that arc right there, then you see how it can get you down into this hole, and then you can fall out the bottom here. You see that? Then that's a descending. If you get above this line, do you see how this curves up? There's a point at which you aren't curving, you aren't coming down the arc anymore. This would be the pivot point right here. You see that? Where you have an arc coming downward, put pressure on from here, from this point to here, and then from this point you would need to come back up and cross over this line here in order to get over that this point. Does that make sense? Because from here you have the pressure from there to there, and if you don't come correct back over and move up to this one, between this one and this one, you see along this line, then you can fall from here. And this is the point. You see this straight line here, and then here's your next arc. So you can fall from there. Now you might have a potential to move back up through there, but then you still have to come across here. And you're still not high enough because you're not over here, because this is where that started. See, the move up had to go from here to here, not from here. Okay, so from here to here, that's a whole lot different than from here down here. Where do I have to go now to get back up to this? You have to go way up here, along here. So I would draw a straight line here. Notice that this is a span that isn't part of this at all anymore. It's out of this fib. It's past the point of its structure. Okay, so I would need a connector. Well, what's waiting is the one from before, and we had a curve, and this one from before over here. Now, that one started like this. Okay, so this one pushes out. Now, let's see how that pushed from. Does that have a connector here? It goes up to this point. I have to draw my straight line. Okay, so that we had price action from down here. So what you do is you look for your confluence. Okay, and where I have a lot of confluence, I see a lot of confluence right here. I got that angle, I got this one, I got this one. All of this meets at like this spot up here. But there's a gap. So just like you have like holes in the bottom, you also have holes up top. So when you talk about gap, you can gap up and you can gap down. I don't know if I answered your question, but you want to look at where it worked in this thing this morning. Let me take this off. Well, let's go to that
Thank you
real
so
root.
much, BJ.
Does that make sense to you, or should I do some more? Because it's to me it sounded like it didn't make sense, but maybe it does.
I think I'm catching it on. Yeah, still a little confused on some spots, but I definitely am understanding that on on the hills and valleys that you were saying now.
Okay, so look here. If I put this like this, and here's, you see the price action there. All right, right here. This black line is of course the price action. If I connect this right there and show you that, okay, you see how all this makes these lines crisscross, and these aren't price lines. These are mathematical formulas, okay, that makes these patterns. So I think I need to take this one off because it's not attached to anything that means anything. Let's do that. How do I delete? Remove. Okay, so I'll go to here. And then there was this morning. Remember how earlier today we were climbing along this this spot, and there was a spot right here. There was a point where I could flip this, and I knew we were going to be going up from there. That here we had the support right this. Okay, so you could see a chart that I posted that had this projection. Now this projection, a projection is the same thing as a fib, only it doesn't have the lines in between. It's the same thing. So you either use fib or you can use projection, but the projection just doesn't have the lines made out. Okay, so I was able to flip this because I could see, okay, that was this gives you your defining like a curve of potential mathematically. Okay, I already had this triangle, but now if I open this up, open, all right, and I put it back, I had it, that, look, you see, look at that, here. Now if I just flip it like this, it goes like that. Now if I can just do a potential like this, expand it. That's how you get your you know, like a bat pattern or whatever pattern. If I pull it a certain way at a certain point, it's going to give me a potential from this spot in price along this edge. It will either come past out of it or under here. So when I'm looking for what is my potential for price area, like an area it can go, you line it these lines up on your price. So let's do that. So because of this edge, I can see that at some point price is able, because of time, we still have time. If I go a straight line up, you can still hit price here, even now at 111,254, and you can go past it, right? Here's my other one that's up here. Because there's still time, there's not time to go backwards, right, back here, but because of where this is, that gives you an equation that can allow for that to occur. We still have time. Potential doesn't mean it would, but there's a potential that you can have price action. Come on up here. You can also have price action come down. So let's see what the likelihood. Okay, so if we were to fall, let's say I put this down to where, see how that, look at how that meets that line there. See? Now, let's say we don't get over this. So let's back this up and put it right here. Let's say that you see that peak right there. I'm gonna keep this line here. Now I want to make sure the price comes over that before I move this over this this line, because that would negate where, okay, here I don't have it right. Okay. That. You see how it's not letting me? If I go like this, it's not letting me look, that it doesn't let me go any higher, really, unless it flips. You see? But I can stretch it this way. So look at how it goes down that channel. You see what I'm talking about? So if you play with this enough, you'll get to understand what I'm trying to show. So there's a point right there. You see where my mouse is? Okay, that we broke out of. So now I can put this like up here, because we went over that previous price right there. So we went like this, so I can then just do that. So we still are at risk down here if we fail and come down. And this is already here because I've already got this. That pretty much takes it. But this, just will tell you on a shorter time frame. But now, what would I do to say why might we not come down this far? Well, the reason is because we have upward price action up here. So I can move this from that low to this low, right? Because we have a higher low. So now my projection, what do you call it? My projection potential is a lot different than coming down this channel because of this action between here and here. So now if I take and expand this, look at how I don't get that going down that channel anymore. If I take this one and I expand it from where it is, okay, it pretty much gives me confluence that I need to break out at this level right here, which I already have outlined in resistance, right, like that. But notice that the potential from this point to here is really no longer because we've gone forward in time. So if I draw a 90, a straight line, which I have right there, we can't go back and go, we can't fall out the bottom at this point. This particular point is not mathematically feasible anymore. Right here, this point in time cannot be done anymore. Just like this one, you can't make this point anymore on the chart. It's done. You can't go any higher than it did because time has already passed. Okay, you can't fill in this with fake time or fake price. So this, now I could take this and move it this way to here. And then I can also take and move this side, because now I've come up beyond this angle right there. So now I can do this. I can go this way. So I still have, I have a potential that we could come down to this point, if we lose at, this is forward in time, and we still have your risk to 96 if we turn and fall back the other way, right? So this gives you an idea. Then we still have risk to here. We don't have risk to here on this way because we're past that time, but we do still have it over this way unless we continue to make higher lows. Now I can put, so this angle right there has still got to get crossed, and that's why this number over the top right there is a must cross, because we have to make we have to have our candles go over the top of that along this fib here. Otherwise our risk is still from that that spot there, not getting over it, risks a turn down to where we can go down that channel. I hope I said that properly, because we have not closed candles over that this area yet. So that still leaves this vulnerable, because this is the 11th of June, the 12th of June, okay? The potential is still there, but the higher we go. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to take this tip and I'm going to put it down here because we've changed direction now. And so I can take the tip of this and go like that. And then I can pull this side up. Well, it's already up to where it should be. Okay, so now I can go down there. And then I can pull this one up. Like that. And then I can do that. Okay. And now that gives me a whole nother thing because that shows a, a little whole different perspective right there. Okay, take that. Now, I'll be able to move this side up as we climb up that ladder, and then this as this fills in this way, and we get that pivot. Then see how this turns. So now you're seeing how the counterclockwise motion will start to occur right here at this seam. So so this is going this way, like that. And then watch, there'll be a point in time when it'll flip, like that. And then that makes like a circle. See, you don't get to go anymore off that pivot. You don't get to do anything else besides there. See how that, look at how that covers that price like that, and it flips. So this is where you get your, look at that, you get your window right there. So if we look at this on another time frame, it shows a whole different thing too. This is what mainly started me thinking about what is this, because when I would look at different time frames, I would see this interaction between why does the chart look so much different when I see it on a daily, right? Why is this fib ring or fib wedge, whatever, why does it look like it's on this side of the dividing line versus this side where I drew it? And so then I have to answer that question. Well, how is that? And then why is there sometimes when I look like I have an arc and a triangle, and I always would see this pattern where it looks like an arm shooting out, in some trades where you get this rise, and then you see like a shootout. I don't know how to explain it, but it was just like a cone coming out, almost like that. I would see that all the time, And it makes sense now, because there are important times when you go past the center, and you're over on this side, and so you're moving this way versus this way. And so now these rings, if I complete that as a circle, they come up underneath as a support rather than as a descend. So that started a whole kind of conversation in my mind. Okay, well, it's something that has to explain for this. So see how this one is the big overarching one? And then you have your from your spirals, you have the support lines that come up from underneath. And once you cross those lines, they form like a triangle because of squaring. So you know about the GANN squares, and then the 45 and the 90 degrees, and the 25 degree and the 69, and you find these things. So what I started doing is making sure that I can identify my squares, and then divide that square into my pieces, my triangles. Oh, I just changed my screen by accident. Okay, so then I will do that. So I'd like to, at some point, go piecemeal, because I'm saying too much in one little chunk. I have too much to say all the time. So I guess that a tip would be, okay, if you can identify your time by your horizontal and your vertical, your support and resistance lines, and you can think of it as a square, and then divide your square with a 45-degree line, that makes your triangle. Well, so look at this setup. I mean, just by doing what we just did, we just made a pattern, for a trade, right? Here you have your here. Look at this. That's 66 degrees. You find your best ones between 65 and 70, and usually a 69 degree right there. A 69 degree is a beautiful trade angle between 69 and 70. You're going to get a nice lift. So let's see. That's on the 15-minute. Let's go. Uh, yep, we're right here at this resistance. Okay, here's my line that I just drew. That takes us right up here. And we have, and then where they cross is right here, right there. So that 107, 176. Now that number is this. These price things are, like I've told you before, they're kind of deceiving, because that's from this point right here where my mouse is. This rectangle, where you see the numbers, isn't the line. It's this point right here. This point is 107, 176. So this point here is 106, 455. So when you see a lot of lines, they're not lines. They're structure, or I don't know how else you want to say, but the lines, like price action lines are like my arrows, but these things are not, this is not, this is structured like a scaffolding that we want to have price